back and you can dig now. I think we started there, Rodney. What do you think?
Derek, is it time for another episode of Whisky and Wifi?
It is. Gather your friends and your family. Everyone come
Maybe
on
not
down.
children. Maybe not children.
You know, I think my young nephew listens to this because my mom listens to this all the time. And thank you, Mom, for listening.
Well, that means your nephew's going to be a brilliant,
my
well-rounded
nephew
young
has
man.
many things coming to him that
And
he does not understand
He
yet.
might say dick a lot.
Dick! He said a lot of words he probably shouldn't say at his age. But God bless him, he's cute. He's a cute little kid.
He's a cute little kid.
He's a cute little kid.
He's a cute little guy.
Ah, well. What has happened this week, Rodney?
I don't know, man. This week has been a blur.
It's been a very quick week for me, too. I don't know what it was about. I guess you had Valentine's Day tucked in there, so people were doing that thing.
I fucking hate Valentine's Day. I put that out there. I think that's such a weird holiday. I think you should love your partner and your family and everyone that means something to you every day and live that way every day. And it's just such a ridiculous Hallmark holiday.
It is a bit of a Hallmark holiday.
It's like, oh, spend $60 on roses. Oh, take them out to eat a fancy dinner because they're going to charge you more. Oh, get them a card that... I mean,
but
it's
if
cute.
you don't do anything as a boyfriend or a girlfriend, don't you get in trouble? Well, I guess there's mutual agreements people make. But
we toned it down
still-
this year, and I feel like I was punished for that, even though we talked about that beforehand.
See, that
Because I realized,
happens,
like,
right?
fuck.
These are stories I hear
Should
about.
have made a dinner reservation. Shit.
It's like, yeah, you know, it's okay if we don't do anything special this year. It's fine. And then the day comes and she's like, I can't believe you didn't do anything for me. Like, do you love me?
She didn't talk like that.
These are the women I
But-
meet. They all talk like this, and they're like, you know, belly girls.
I think it definitely would have gone over better if I would have been like, oh, I made a surprise reservation, like we're going out to eat. Or if I would have even just bought us something fancier to eat that night and cooked it.
What did you buy?
We just got like takeout or something. Like we just watched movies and
That's
like
fine.
candy cards, like simple.
Yeah. You know, Valentine's Day for me, I never got too serious about it, but there would be times where I'm just like, I wanna
Once
do
you
something
have that
special.
woman going, and you're like,
as a single guy, you see it as kind of an opportunity to be like, oh, everyone's out there trying to not necessarily like hook up and get laid, but it's just like, oh, there's people out there like we should get together, and it seems like an easier time to meet people if you go out, and, you know.
I don't know, dude. I feel like a lot of the single ladies do not go out on Valentine's Day. Sometimes you'll see the pack of girls that have made the commitment to go out as a group.
Oh, the pack.
But yeah, I feel like
You gotta
have
watch out for the pack
Yep.
because they protect the the people in the pack, and the guy's
No.
just like, I'm trying to hook up.
No, it's the ugly ones attract the pretty one.
Oh,
what
right,
happens.
right.
They like hide the pretty one like back behind them.
We're
You
not
gotta-
sexist at all.
You have to
This
fight
is
the you have to fight the trolls to get to the princess. 'Cause-
Hey, so this is how guys think. No. Terrible guys.
Oh, come on. You know what I mean, though. If there's a group of girls, they will get a little jealous and protective if you show favoritism to the one attractive one that's there. Not that there's just one, but I feel
Right.
like that happens a lot of times.
Well,
It's
that's
just
the
like
thing.
one cute
You know, there's cute girls and they get attention, but some guy might be thinking the other girl's the cute girl in the bunch.
Oh,
you know?
every woman is beautiful in their own way. Don't get me wrong. But
Right.
if you're attracted to one in a group and it's like that's your one, the other ones will tend to be like,
I don't know. It does seem like kind of a pack mentality.
no.
A little bit sometimes, and sometimes it's hard to penetrate. But Valentine's Day maybe the guard is let down. I don't know, but.
Are you trying to tell me you got lucky on Valentine's Day? Is that what you're trying to
I
say?
would never. I don't talk about.
I got
those
lucky
things.
in the parking lot.
I don't talk about my sexual relations
behind the
They're
beer
okay.
garden. I was doing some work behind the beer garden.
All I know is I have tendonitis in my elbow. So
Oh no. The suspension in the Jeep is shot. Suspension is shot, and it's not from off-roading.
So what else happened this week? We got ICE is still doing its thing. We can talk about them every week, but I think we have to, right?
Oh, you mean World War III?
Oh yeah, man, World War
He's
III
gonna call it
started.
World War III.
I mean, everybody's getting involved now. You got Jordan, you got Egypt going after him now. They killed like 10 Coptic Christians in Egypt.
Didn't they burn 40-something people alive?
Oh, Jesus, it's one of those things that we talked about before. It's like I don't want to watch it because it's so depressing and horrible, but I'm the one that ranted against it like 3 weeks ago. Where I was just like, well, we gotta pay attention to this because this is serious stuff. We gotta really make a decision on this. And now Obama's asking for new military
We're
powers.
sending in we're trying to send in a lot more people.
Mm-hmm. And I don't know, maybe I flip-flop on this a little bit, but I'm just like, well, maybe we do just gotta eradicate this before it gets out of control. I don't know. But is that a bad way to think? Like, is that me just playing into the hands of this whole war machine?
Dude, I have no idea, man.
Yeah.
It could be. It could be. How do we know?
We don't know.
But that's why we're talking about it over a drink.
Yeah, that's what we do.
Yep. Drink it down.
Drink it down, and the dogs are drinking something off the floor.
I gave them a little icy cube. Well, it looks like Loki just got it all.
In case you don't know, and if you've been listening to the show, we have a Loki dog and a Hurley dog here.
Yep, they're both rescues, by the way, rescue pups. One was a stray, one was at a high kill shelter.
Oh my gosh.
Gave him a new home, and
He's loving it.
yeah, they're awesome. I love them. They're my little buddies. As much as I talk about turning them into pie, I don't mean that.
So you're going to hear them, and sometimes you might hear a weird edit because they get a little too loud or something like that.
They start barking at the neighbors who are shooting their guns and rifles at each other over drugs and shenanigans.
Oh, he's ringing the bell.
Yeah,
He agrees.
Live in a crazy area. You say yes, there are.
We
some
wouldn't
crazy
put them
neighbors.
down, though, or we wouldn't let them be put down. But you know what Pennsylvania's doing? They're not letting prisoners be put down anymore.
Oh!
Hard left turn into the issue.
Boom!
We're going to start there with the death penalty this week.
Newly elected Governor Tom Wolf.
Tom Wolf.
Swinging the big dick.
The big wolf.
Swinging the big
The
wolf dick.
Wolfmeister.
The wolf pussy.
Sorry, that one got me. The wolf pussy.
He's not a pussy. He's a sweet dude. I actually really like Tom Wolf, so that sounded terrible.
Oh my God.
I said swinging the big dick, but then I just thought,
Just in case you're listening, Mr. Wolf or his staff, we would like you to come on the show one day and talk to us. But
We admire
want
you.
you to come
We're
as the
fans.
wolf pussy.
make that a character. It's a superhuman character. He just kicks ass. He just has an afro.
He's redefining the word pussy.
It's like
Everyone
he's
thinks-
Cat Man.
Yeah, and he's just owning it and kicking ass.
Wolf.
It's
It's like
yeah,
like
I'm a
this-
pussy.
It's like this wolf pussy. Like it's like the wolf cat.
Yeah.
Like a half wolf, half cat. The wolf pussy.
Oh man.
But it's like manly, masculine, taking it over. It's like, running with it.
You were such a chauvinist.
Well, it's
I'm,
kind of.
I'm just kidding.
It's kind of like how certain times people take over words and say, we're going to own this word and make it our own. That happens in culture. We don't have to
Just
go
like
into
we're owning Whisky and Wi-Fi, because I know there's somebody out there who's called Whisky and Wireless.
Yeah, fuck your fucking routers. Fuck your internet web.
We're
blog.
gonna own this name. Yeah. Ooh.
Even if you have 400 followers and we only have 4 million.
Yeah. Look at our hits. Like, share, subscribe. Whiskey and Wireless. Damn.
No one listens to
Damn
this.
it.
I'm Rodney Chesterfield, and would you please like our videos?
We might move
That was a
to...
forced laugh, Derek. You weren't actually laughing at my fake cry.
I like to laugh.
It wasn't a forced cry.
I'm sorry.
It was a forced cry, so I guess that deserves
Yeah,
a fake
okay.
laugh.
So, yeah, we're on the same page, you little man. Don't call me out here. Man. I think we're going to try to eventually get onto like iTunes or a downloadable, easy. I've gotten some complaints that we're not easy to listen to because of our medium, which I understand, but we're still working out the kinks. So if you're listening, maybe we'll change that up pretty soon. So
Getting back to the death penalty. I need to stop talking like such a douchebag. But yeah, getting back to the death penalty.
yes, let's have a serious conversation about the death penalty, please.
Okay, I'd like
Okay,
to talk
guys.
about Governor Tom Wolf and Co.
The wolf pussy.
The wolf pussy.
Yeah, I still
No,
can't do
he's
this.
not a wolf pussy. We have to stop saying that.
All right.
That's not the way you should talk about a governor.
No, he's a good guy.
I was trying to just be like, man, it's really weird how Danny and Derek both died on the same day. Dun dun dun. We'll talk about that a little later.
Conspiracy corner.
But yeah.
Wait
Death
for it. Wait for it. I know you're all excited. That's all you
Shut up, Derek. We're talking about the death penalty right
Yeah,
now.
well, okay.
Come on.
Go. I'm scared of you.
I don't know any facts. I just know that he.
Right, if you have any facts, please send them to whiskeyandwifi@gmail.com.
Email us some ideas for shows as well.
We want to talk with you, not at you, because we're not those kind of guys, right? We're not the AM radio people I ran it against last week.
But yeah, I guess Tom Wolf decided to impose a moratorium on the death penalty recently.
I like it. I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm a big fan of. I'll just start there. I'm of the mindset that
You don't like killing people? What
I
the
don't
fuck's
like
wrong-
killing people.
Wait,
And
what if there are people in other countries, Derek? Because we do a lot of that,
damn it,
and your tax money supports that.
I hate it. I hate it, but it seems like such a necessary evil. But when it comes to capital punishment,
Isn't that capital punishment too? Kind of like a drone
mean-
shoots a Hellfire missile down at a fucking bunch of children.
yeah, but there's different rules.
I'm sorry,
to
I
war.
was throwing a really weird. Go back to
No,
the,
keep going there, because that's we're going to get there eventually. I feel, But it's just capital punishment. You go through the system, and you find this person guilty or not guilty, and you take all this time to figure it out. And there's still, I saw the stat when I was doing research, 4% of the people they killed they think were innocent, and that number is still too high for me. Like
But
even
4% of the people in the country are in Pennsylvania.
Oh, that was the country. Like of all the people put to death,
Okay.
they believe 4% were innocent. I'm just like, that's still a lot of people that
I
went through a
definitely
lot of
think
shit.
I definitely think that I'm torn. When it comes to capital punishment, I think it's weird when a state entity's killing someone. Like that's weird.
Mhm.
But I also feel like there's some horrendous crimes that people commit where it's like you don't deserve to be here anymore, even if it's in a cell. Like I think I don't ever want to end up in a cell, but I'd rather be in a cell with like a magazine or a book to read
Mhm.
by myself or whatever. I mean, I never want to go to prison, but I feel like I'd rather be alive than dead. Like I think I would try my hardest to find pleasure wherever I am, even if it was like hell on earth.
Right,
Like,
right. That's a good thing. I think
But-
there's that optimism there. That's good. But you're a well-balanced human being, and there's people who commit horrendous crimes, like you said.
So is there a place for them where you just want to keep like the worst of the worst? That's where I'm like, I just don't know.
Okay, this is a popular belief, which researching it today, it kind of made it invalid. I always thought to keep these people alive, we got to be spending more money than to kill them. Like if they're really evil, like why are you paying so much money to keep them alive?
Mhm.
Like from a business sense, I know it's cold-hearted. It's just like they were awful, death penalty, kill them off, let's go. But when doing the research, it actually costs a lot more money to execute somebody because there's so many like
Not if you use a
court
guillotine.
systems, or going through the court system costs so much money. There's
Not
so
if
many
you use a
appeals.
guillotine, you just lop off their head.
Well, it's not just that; it's the process.
I'm just being
Okay,
facetious.
good. You're keeping it light. I'm getting all like, well, actually,
Actually, if you use a
this is the
guillotine,
thing.
the blade would have to be titanium coated. It's a big flare.
So, I want to let our audience out there know that research shows it's more expensive to execute somebody because of the process they go through, all the appeals, all the attorneys representing them, all the state costs to like make this actually happen. Actually adds up a lot quicker than just putting somebody through the system. I guess they base it on the average lifespan. But that's the thing. There's people that might enjoy the prison life. It's like I'm going to do this horrible thing and then go to prison for the rest of my life. Like that Marilyn Manson. Sorry.
Manson's a singer.
Yeah,
The beautiful people.
Yeah,
The beautiful people.
Charles Manson, right?
Yeah, there you go.
I almost feel like he enjoys prison. And is it weird to still have him alive, doing his stuff, preaching his thing? But I mean, that's still freedom.
It's still weird, and I mean, and I'm not for or against it really, but that's a great example of someone where I'm like, I don't think that person really should, be even enjoying that. Like,
Yeah.
just delete them. Don't make any big deal. Just be like, boom, we're pulling the plug on this one. Failed experiment. Put them away. But at the same time, the fact that we know there's been DNA evidence that has been brought forward that suggests that we have killed, not in Pennsylvania, at least since they've brought it back in 1976.
Okay.
And since then, we'll just drop some facts real quick. I believe there's only been 3 people put to death since then, since 1976 in Pennsylvania.
I did not see
And
that.
all 3 of them voluntarily gave up their appeals.
Oh.
So in Pennsylvania specifically, our track record, at least in the modern times, now I haven't really researched back before that because I imagine it probably got pretty ugly and that's why we
Right.
took it away. But since it's been reinstated, I feel like that seems to tell me that it's being managed fairly well because if people are doing away with their appeals, I feel like they knew they were guilty and they're like, I deserve to fucking die for what I did.
Right.
Fuck the appeal process, fucking kill me.
Yeah.
I'm a scumbag. Because who would waive their appeals?
Well, I mean,
Maybe I
there's-
should
Maybe
just
there's
assume
people
that.
who did things they have regret, or they're in prison and they want to. If you're in prison and you hate it, you probably see death as an escape. Like that's the thing about a lifetime punishment. That might be more of a punishment to some people.
I mean, it
Like,
could.
especially like.
When you think
this
about the
is different
spiritual
about
thing, it could
ISIS,
be.
though.
Well, in spiritual sense, it could be more of a punishment. If you really believe in an afterlife, depending. I mean, a lot of people believe in a hell. Not everyone believes in a hell, but if for some reason there isn't necessarily a hell like a lot of us believe in, if you release somebody's soul from this world, it could release them into a totally different place.
Yeah, no, I mean.
Sorry, that's a real weird place to think about. But
I like it. And since we're live in the show, you might. I'll take this time to approach our audience and say, hey, you might have noticed we did some deep hiccups. And
don't listen to decap ups; they're ridiculous.
They're a little ridiculous, but I just want to touch on the point. It's like, we are beings that believe in things, and that affects our decision making. So if we even talking about that, friend to friend, face to face, whiskey to whiskey.
Like I believe in touching myself while wearing a clown wig.
Hey, whatever it takes for you and your Valentine.
Well, I like to also have a bag over my head while cutting the air supply off.
You know, you could kill yourself that way.
No, I'm way too good at it.
So,
where were you going?
Where was I going?
We're thinking beans.
We're thinking beans. I'm just pointing out that
like jumping beans. Like jumping beans.
Yeah, beans.
You get it?
Shut up. We are way too serious. My point was just, we have to, I think it's important to consider that aspect of our rationality and how we put things together in this world. And it does affect things like the death penalty in war and even finance sometimes. Like if you believe in a system, a religious system that says, don't steal, that affects how you make laws or treat people or sentence people to death.
Sure, all those things.
So that's why we talk about that stuff.
Well, and going back to what Tom Wolfe has decided to do, I mean, in doing so, I mean, I don't know if this commission, I guess this commission's new. He's created a commission. It's a bipartisan commission, so there's both conservative and progressive Dems, Republicans on a committee to research it to see if it's cost effective, if it's the right thing, if it's a deterrent to keep people from doing these atrocious behaviors or committing these atrocious crimes.
Yeah.
And 2, if it's fairness. And that's, or 4, sorry, 2. I've made 3 points, and I'm going to make a 4th one, but I'm going to say it's, and 2, fairness.
And 2.
But that's the, if there's anything, that's the only thing that drives me crazy is when fairness is brought up. I agree with everything else. Is this a cost-effective solution? You made that point earlier. Mm. Is it the right thing to do? And is it curbing this behavior? I think those are all like the key targets. But then you also sometimes hear this idea of fairness. What do you think about fairness? Because when I hear fairness, it sometimes drives me crazy because I think it should be understood and we should all accept the fact that life's not fair. And the faster that we all just accept that and say, sometimes life sucks, sometimes you get some lumps you shouldn't deserve, but it's about picking yourself up and the lumps you can take and still pick yourself up that really define the man or the woman. And fairness is a fucking ridiculous concept. But what do you think about fairness?
I think I remember talking about this in
Did we already talk
high
about
school.
this?
No,
Oh,
high school.
Fuck. It's only been like 3 or 4 episodes. I already forget them all because we get too drunk.
No, but we talked about this in high school. Like, there's fairness of opportunity and like fairness of results or something like that. I think you should expect fairness and opportunity in this country. I think that's what we hope for.
That's a great point. I agree with you completely.
But there's a lot of people that think I should have this because, and sometimes I think that's a faulty thing.
Sometimes you think, or always?
Well, I do feel like some people get cheated sometimes. It's a very unique situation where like maybe someone got stolen from or something dastardly happened.
Well, that goes back to the point that life's not fair. So if you I'm sorry, but continue.
But I think if we all have a fair opportunity to chase our goals in life, I think that's something we should fight for, or at least hope for.
Oh, for sure.
But there is that perspective where it's like, why aren't things fair? And I do feel the same. I'm like, well, things aren't going to be fair. And I think it's an age thing too. Maybe it's just us coming to that point in our lives now that we're getting a little older. It's just like, so I think we're at a point in our lives, being going on 30 now, where we learn that things aren't fair. Like, I think when you're younger, you think life can be this way and that way, and things haven't happened to you yet. And then you go through another 10 years of your life, and like, you see what other people go through, not just yourself, but you go through things, and you're just like, oh, life honestly isn't fair, and I got to make the best out of my situation, and it's up to me to change that situation and make it different. Because you were saying how like fairness shouldn't be expected or something like that.
Oh, I mean, that's I think a great perspective to have, the one that you just outlined. And that's what I don't like when that gets thrown into things like the death penalty, where it's like, well, is this fair? It's like, well, if we know for a fact, let's say there's DNA evidence let's say the person even says they did it,
Yeah.
and this person's a terrible person. They killed and ate a bunch of children.
Good God.
And like we know that they did that. Like there's video.
Where is your mind,
There's
Rodney?
like video of this person doing this, and it's like, yes, I did this. I'm a terrible human being. It's just like let's just cut his head off and be done with it. Or no, we don't do that, but do whatever we do and be done with it. Sometimes I'm kind of like, yeah, like, and if the person's like, that's not fair because they should be given a chance to redeem themselves. It's like, let's not talk about fairness. This guy was a sick fuck. But then I also am like, I don't know.
Yeah, there's the point to it. It's like, this guy deserves it. And then I come from an experience where I'm just like, maybe this person doesn't realize what's going on in his head. And then what do you do there? Do you just put him in a mental asylum for the rest of life, which is its own kind of personal hell?
And there's also the part where we're like kind of byproducts to the world we grew up in. So like maybe that crazy sick fuck had a crazy fucking sick disturbing childhood.
Yeah.
And it really was a product of a crazy situation. Or yeah, like there's something else going on that he can't even control in his mind. So there's that too.
Right.
That you have to take in perspective and you're like, what created this? Because we're all products of society. I really believe that. So
Oh yeah, it takes a village to raise a child is the old adage, I think. And I think it's still true today. I think I'm a genuinely nice and good person, but I had a very
No,
large-
Derek, I disagree. I challenge you to another duel.
Damn it, every week!
Nerf duel. This time we're doing it.
Get down! You just hear explosions.
No, it's just that noise.
Yeah, that's really entertaining.
You missed me again. You missed me again.
What an asshole!
I hit you at least 3 times, Derek. Act like you're dying. I win the duel.
That's all there is. But yeah.
That's all there is, folks. Thanks for listening.
Anyway,
And there's a real gunshot.
that's for the second half of the show. We'll wait for that.
Derek's writing a new book.
Yeah.
It's just gonna be a flesh wound across my thigh. So he says.
But I was getting at is I came from a large supporting family. I think it made me generally more appreciative, nice, good. I don't know.
Again, I disagree. Another duel.
It made me a good person. The point is, if you get isolated as a child, or maybe you don't have that support system, even in the community, if you don't have that, if you don't grow up in a nice neighborhood, it's going to affect you and change you how you grow up. And is that, and like you said, do you become a product of society at that point? And if you become a murderer and get offed by society because society created you, that's a whole deeper issue. This is talking about like psychology now, but
We don't deserve. We are not.
we don't know what the
We're
hell is
not
going
really
on.
drunk enough to talk about psychology.
But I do want to touch on methods of killing people. It used to be the electric chair. Now we do the lethal injection and some
Well, the
states
lethal
do gas.
injections have gotten tricky though because a lot of the companies that have discovered that their products are being used in lethal injections have basically limited the sale of said products to states or whatever entities are administering the injections,
Yeah.
which has made it trickier because then they've been using different products and different mixtures, and there've been a couple botched injections recently.
That's the thing that recently I saw that like one guy was still alive for 2 hours, but he
And,
was
like,
in a
not in
paralyzed
good shape.
shape. Yeah, and just convulsing and all this weird
yeah,
shit.
like it wasn't good.
And there's almost part of me is like, why don't we go back to the guillotine? Because good God, you just cut their head off. That should be it, right?
I think that seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
Even hanging, it breaks your neck right away, right?
Well, sometimes hanging wouldn't actually break the neck, and they just hang there and strangle to death.
Oh, so yeah,
So-
maybe the guillotine is the
That's the thing.
not stoning to death, right?
Stoning's
Not burning
terrible.
to death.
Burning's terrible.
Just thinking about this makes
Electric
you
chair.
think
When if you saw The Green Mile, that's a very popular movie where that
you
guy
forget to wet the sponge.
Yeah, where he deliberately did
Make
it.
sure you wet the
Make
sponge.
sure you wet. Like that's terrible too. It's just
If
like,
anyone
damn.
ever says that, you know, anyone who's seen that movie knows exactly what you're talking about. Make sure you wet the sponge, kid. You're like, oh my god. Yeah, thinking about the death penalty and it definitely, I'm not for or against it, but it's like such a. It seems like such like yeah, I don't know. Sometimes people try to paint it as a black and white issue. I feel like it's very tricky.
I think we didn't talk about yet our kind of moral stance on it. We touched on it a little bit, but
Of killing someone.
like you're killing someone, and we're not supposed to kill people as civilized human beings. Or maybe that's just a wrong idea to have, right? Maybe we are supposed to kill bad people.
What if you didn't kill him? You shoot him out into space. You're like, we didn't kill you. We just said you can't live on Earth anymore.
I like that idea.
But
It's kind of.
But if we didn't have, so if we figured out technology like fusion power and we got so good at building fusion reactors, it was like, oh, we just make infinite number of them. Like, because like right now that would cost so much money to do. Like you're talking about, if is it cost effective?
That's true.
That would not be cost effective. But if
We
we
just
got
put a
to
rocket on their back and see them go into the air. Be like, oh, you didn't make it.
it's just a fire.
Well, we tried.
There's just like, oh, roast pork everywhere. Roast pork. Why I shouldn't do it in that voice. Oh.
Hey, we're just white folk from Pennsylvania. That's what happens, right?
Central Pennsylvania, racist assholes. Oh. I don't actually feel that way. I don't think that's what the pork is in Chinese food. I don't think it's people.
It's people!
There's
silent people!
There's people in the Chinese food.
I tell you what, now you gotta get what I'm telling you right now.
You know why we get the flu? You know why we get the flu?
It's the government, right?
It's the Chinese food.
Oh, it's the Chinese, I should have known.
It's the Chinese food. It's the pulled pork. Or the pork. The fried rice. Fried eye.
I think you're leading us to an early conspiracy corner.
Are we going early to the conspiracy corner?
We're doing something different this week. But first, we must address that it is halftime top-up time.
Halftime top-up. It's my favorite time of the night. When Derek fills my cup of whiskey.
What are we drinking this week? We didn't even talk about that. Usually we bring that up a little bit.
Well, I think we're drinking different.
Yeah, we have a whole setup here.
You're drinking a little Evan Williams cinnamon.
Cinnamon.
Oh.
It makes your breath smell like you're not an alcoholic.
So when Derek makes out with his mother, she doesn't complain.
Oh, don't you? She's listening. Yeah. Come on. Come on, man. Not cool.
Hello, Canadian Clubster.
Canadian
I
Club.
feel like I need to get some more ice.
Johnny
I don't have enough
Red
ice.
Label.
And then we have that random.
What is that?
That's some good stuff, I think.
We have a mystery bottle here. If we ever drink it and go really loopy, that's what happened.
When doves cry.
That's how we're coming back into the show.
When doves cry. When doves cry, they cry tears of purple.
You're doing karaoke right now, Rodney. You don't even know.
When doves cry.
Let it go. Breathe.
When doves cry.
Don't you feel your soul opening up?
When doves cry.
Come on, Rodney. Make me believe you.
They cry tears of purple.
Beautiful. We just had a moment here. I know.
Welcome back.
We did a halftime
Rodney
pop-up.
Chesterfield. I don't know who that fucking asshole was. Fuck that guest. He's gone forever.
I don't have feelings. We had to take a break for the dogs there, so if you heard that edit, that's what happened. But we're back now, and let's talk about. Death penalty is bad, but what if you get killed for knowing too much?
Knowing too much.
The conspiracy.
Wait,
corner
what do you mean
we
knowing
have
too
for-
much?
Well, let's see here. 3 American journalists die within 24 hours this week. A fourth one gets hit by a head-on collision. And one dies hours after interviewing Edward Snowden, the famous or infamous whistleblower that exposed the NSA's tactics. So the one, Ned Colt, died in Boston after suffering a massive stroke. Pretty normal. Also on February 12th, it was reported that Bob Simon was killed in a New York City car crash.
What kind of car crash? Do you know if it was like a one car or multiple car?
That isn't in this article.
like,
That's important to know.
Was he
though.
driving like 160 miles
He
per
was
hour?
73, so that's another thing. He probably wasn't driving that old, but no, driving that old. He probably wasn't driving that fast because he's old, right?
Well, what kind of vehicle was it? Because lots of vehicles are pretty safe too. I feel like we,
That's
all
true.
right, continue.
But he was a correspondent for 60 Minutes. But here's the interesting thing: he was held captive for more than a month in Iraq, which corresponds to the other guy who died. Let me get the name for you. Bob Hager, who was involved in a head-on collision. Oh, he's the guy who didn't die. I'm sorry, I should have presented this better. But Bob Hager was involved in a head-on collision but did not die. His wife was taken to the hospital. But he also reported on Iraq. And David Carr, the one I was telling you about that died hours after interviewing Snowden this week, he did have lung cancer, they determined. But
Oh yeah, because I remember them giving a tribute to him on
Yeah. But there is since this is Conspiracy Corner, there's a group of people out there who's like, this seems way too fishy. What are they trying to hide? And they're tying it to Brian Williams, who basically looks like a propagandist now to these people because he lied about Iraq and got public support to go into Iraq. At least that's the thought process going on there. So there's kind of some things going on. It's like, do these journalists know something that we don't know, and are they getting offed because maybe they're coming together to report it? That's the conspiracy. I don't know how much validity that has, but that's there. And then the other thing is how much of our media is propaganda with the Brian Williams thing, and then actually there's a third thing, the Edward Snowden thing. He still has more stuff to release. They released stuff this week saying that the CIA has spyware in hard drives, that they kind of got into hard drives of people in foreign countries and our country, and basically they're able to tap into virtually anything they want. And where do we go from there? That's the thing. And it all seems a little fishy and weird to some people, and to me it's fun to play around with the ideas. It's just like, that is a little weird, but
Does
there's
this qualify as a rant? You have to take a shot.
I'm getting a phone call from a mysterious number.
They're saying, shut the fuck.
It just hung up by itself. That just happened.
He said, all right, he saw it. Yeah, shut the fuck up, asshole.
That's recorded, and you even heard it. No, but that's
I didn't realize all these journalists passed away. Bob Simon.
yeah.
I knew him. I mean, I'm sure I've read articles by David Carr numerous times, but I never looked at a picture of him before until right now. That was the one that interviewed Snowden, was the guy from the Times.
Yeah. I was watching some of that today just to see what they're talking about, because I enjoyed this topic. It's like how much.
I don't recognize Nick Cole.
Yeah.
Whatever, but that does seem fucking interesting.
It's interesting. I like to bring this up because the subject is so weird to me. The whole wiretapping thing and spying thing, it's fishy to me. It can go bad places, and especially the more we learn about it. We trust the people in control of it now, and there's part of me that's like, we kind of need this to protect ourselves from terrorists, right? But it's so unconstitutional. It's just appalling, and it is very 1984.
Oh, well, it's ridiculous, because if you think about it, would you like if they were going through each one of your letters, cutting it open and reading it? What would you think about that? And that's what's going on with all of your
That's
electronic data. Like
It's a felony.
Like when you put into it, like, would you like if all of your mail came and the envelopes were snipped and taped shut? And it was like someone looked at this, or you knew someone made a copy of everything that was going on.
Mhm.
And when you think about it in that perspective, they say, oh, this is going to keep you safe. Like, this is going to help you. And you're like, because it's so much data, it's so much content too. When you think about the massive amounts of contents that are being stored,
That's too much.
to filter through that, it seems a little ridiculous.
That's the
To
thing.
even consider that it's worth doing that,
It seems inefficient to me, and that's why you
because there's getting to be more and more and more of it too.
yeah.
So like, how are you scrubbing through all? I mean, because the vast majority of us are fucking nice people, right? I mean, the vast majority
Well,
of
that's
us.
what people want to say. It's like, oh, there's not a problem with it because, I don't mind them looking in on what I do because I'm not doing anything wrong. But why are they looking into that stuff
Well, it's this,
if they don't need to do it and if it's inefficient and
Well-
logical people can see that?
well, I mean, it's really nice when you have all that information if you can use it to your benefit, right? I mean, that's a ton of power, because you'd have so much influence and idea of what's going on in people's lives.
Sorry, I saw this glint in your eyes. You're just like, man, that's weird, right?
Dude, well, if you think about it, and then you think about how that ties into the whole the military-industrial complex, and this perpetuation of like, oh, we need to do this to keep you safe, to keep the boogeymen away. We're also telling you we're going to come kill you. That's taking off, and that's why we're taking all your money and fighting these wars. And like, you look at both sides, like, oh, we're taking all of your data, and we're fucking using that to market all these products. I mean, I'm getting real weird. Sorry.
No, you're not getting weird at all. Because we mentioned the slippery slope argument last week, I think, and how it's a fallacy. But there is something to be said that if the powers get in the wrong hands, and if our government's corrupted, And if it's already corrupted, can we trust?
This is a real
This
deep
power.
conspiracy corner.
Can
This conspiracy corner.
we trust that power to? How much? Okay.
I'm going there too. I'm just like, oh god.
I
that
think
sounds
it's
terrible.
wise to be suspicious of an entity with that much power. We said this in
Much
a hiccup.
oversight?
You can't have something too
What
powerful
hiccup?
with
What are you
us.
talking about hiccups? What are these hiccups you speak of?
I mean, you check them out on our website. Subscribe to our channel on whiskyandwifi.com and check them out. We have a lot of hiccups on there. I mean, but we talk about having too much power and the need for checks and balances, even in like a private sector thing, because you get too much power, and now
I don't believe in too much power, Derek. I believe you should get as big and strong as possible.
you earned it.
Yeah.
You earn the right to molest people and do whatever you do.
What? Why do you
Molest
think,
doesn't- molest
why
doesn't
do you
have to be
think that
physical.
people with big power are going to do that?
Because they can, and it's a deep
Murphy's Law.
human urge that's just
If
like.
it can happen, it will happen.
Well, here's the thing.
Here's the
I feel like I say that a lot.
Here's the
This is how I start like a lot of points. Well, here's the
You
thing.
might as well pour a shot right now because
Here
this is
comes
gonna be
a rant.
Just
It's not-
take it
It's
now.
not angry though.
Just
it's
chug that.
More of a point. It's more
chug,
of just like
just chug that and then go on your rant.
it's the.
You have to do that. There it was, people. There it was. If you're still listening with us, we haven't lost you yet,
Come back.
you should take a drink with us right then. Because if you really want to stay involved with this conversation, we love when you drink and comment while you watch the show.
Please.
Yeah.
Please.
Even when you're driving, if you're listening to us while you're in a car, just get a couple of those little airline bottles.
Yeah, I mean,
and just as you're driving,
We've all
you-
watched Flight. If you drink and drive a plane, you can fly it upside down. That's what I've
Yeah,
learned.
it means you can help a bunch of cars from wreck. No, we do not encourage drinking
Oh, we do
driving.
not.
We do not encourage drinking driving.
Disclaimer: we do not encourage drinking and driving while listening to Whiskey
Or
and Wi-Fi.
overindulging in any alcoholic beverages
Right.
whatsoever.
Thank you.
And
as
now
I was
back to-
saying, well, here's the thing: like,
here's the thing.
if you can do something, there are people out there who's like, maybe I can get away with this. And it's like you don't think about it until it's presented
And
to
then
you.
what happens when you do get away with it? Then you push that a
And
little
well,
further.
you got away with it. And you're like, maybe I can get away with this.
And that
then you get to
line
that
keeps
point
getting
and
a
you're
little
just
bit blurrier.
Oh, I can do this now. It's almost like a toddler. This is a sensible
No one's
analogy.
smacking its hand like, no!
Right. Because I'm living with a
Bad
toddler right
people.
now, my sister's kid. I think we talked about him in another hiccup. Watch our hiccups. Listen to our hiccups.
Oh, they're adorable.
Adorable
We talked about it
cats.
on this at the beginning of this one.
I don't even know. Where are we? What's happening? But
30 minutes earlier.
the point is, the little guy tries to like, oh, I can do this maybe. Like he'll even look at you. He's just like, I can do this. He's like, no, you can't do that. He's
trying to
like, but
stab-
I can do this. I'm like, no, you can't do that.
You give examples like he's trying to like stab the cat with a knife.
He's
He's
not-
like, oh, do that. It's like, no, you can't even touch that knife.
You made me do my dad's laugh. But yeah,
Oh, the chocolates.
he doesn't take a knife to animals, but you know what I'm saying.
That's good. He
It's
shouldn't
just
touch
like,
knives, right?
Yeah, it's just like you're like, don't get on the couch. And he's like, I'm gonna get on the couch. And he has that little smirk on his face. He's like, I know I can get away with it. I'm like, ah.
How cute I am.
So extrapolating that to adults, like
Well, we
we're
kind of
sti-
are just like big babies.
we are
just,
big babies.
We just learn how to survive in this world, and we're like, oh, we got it all figured out. Look at how adult we are, and it's like, I say this all the time. Like, no one really knows what.
No one really knows, and when you get away with something that makes your life more comfortable, you're
That's
like, I'm
interesting.
winning.
You think
I'm
a
doing
bunch
a
of
good
adults
job.
are like, huh. I think like so many successful people. I see this time and time again. We see interviews with. I should have examples, but people are like, oh, I feel like a fraud. Like I feel like I don't necessarily deserve this. Like I feel like somehow I got here and like I don't even know how I got here. Because I feel like a lot of life, like sometimes it's just perpetual motion and being in the right place at the right time. And sometimes things happen and you can't really explain it, and you're put into this area of success where it's like, why do you deserve? Like, why do any of us deserve all the things we have when there's people living in parts of sub-Saharan Africa who have like jack shit and are having a tough time getting fresh water, like getting clean fresh water? You think like that's a roll of the dice.
Yeah.
That is
it's
a roll.
really
of
random.
That's a roll of the fucking dice.
It needs to be appreciated more. But the ones that don't think that way get this power. I want to tie it back to the NSA because I feel like we have some layers to go through there.
Getting back to where we were.
Do we have to mention, just another disclaimer, that Rodney Chesterfield has ADHD and dyslexia and gets off topic very easily.
Hey, it's all good. But
NSA
the NSA
is a great organization.
Do you-
I love them very much.
do you think?
Just go on record. Rodney Chesterfield loves them very much.
Yes, Rodney's scared of them.
I'm a cog in the wheel, and I will accept my position in that.
Hey,
Go to work, pay my taxes.
hey, Edward Snowden, do you think what he did was good or bad? Because it does damage the U.S.'s ability to have covert operations to some extent.
I think he should have gone about it in a different way, but I don't know if he could have.
That's the thing. I don't think he could have.
I don't know though.
Yeah.
I really don't know. Like, I don't know enough about the ways in which you get information and really come forward as someone saying, hey, this is wrong the way we're doing this. Because some of the things that he brought forward, I think, are important that we're discussing them now.
Right.
And I understand why certain entities, as long as they're doing what they should be doing, say like, we wish we still, like, this wasn't out in the open because this helps us. So I see both sides. I see how people that are doing the right thing could use those tools really effectively, and it can help them do good things.
Right.
But the
There is
same
that side of
token, on the other side of it, I mean, that's a slippery fucking slope, right?
Right. You know, that's the argument there. It's just weird and
And
doesn't
like you
seem
said, if corrupt people get there,
I don't think we're there yet. It just seems such like a bad idea to have that system in place where. Okay, I was part of a little group called Restore the Fourth in Los Angeles, trying to restore the Fourth Amendment.
Restore the Fourth. This sounds like a creepy cult. Did they tell you to wear a white jumpsuit?
Did not tell me to wear it.
Okay, show up on September 13th,
And
we're all going to drink the purple punch and wear our white Reeboks.
I like that you're saying this.
And don't worry,
Because-
it's going to be good.
I want you to know that most of the people in that group were libertarians. And I'm just like, ha! People who didn't like what the government was doing because of a business aspect. There's spying they fear that goes on between big businesses, like stealing patents and that kind of thing, and looking up other people's ideas. Corporate espionage.
Espionage is a huge industry.
Right. And so there's a lot of people on that bandwagon, and I just got involved with it because I'm just like, I don't think this is right. This seems like a terrible thing to do, to have this system in place so that the term they used was turnkey tyranny could be put in place. Like if, let's say our market crashes and we're thrown into some World War III situation, and the fucking Russians or the Chinese get a hold of this NSA thing, what the fuck happens to people now? Like if you're getting tracked, if you're able to be tracked that easily, if they really want to focus on people, like...
Why do you think that's... I mean, that's already happening. I mean, there was evidence to show that the IRS was targeting certain groups in terms of their beliefs and how closely they were audited with their tax returns and the processes that were put in place to audit their tax returns. I mean, that was shown that that's already being used in our government.
That's the thing.
I mean, I don't think that was... I mean, it was talked about to a degree, but like the point you're making is like, oh, the amount of information that they have and how they can use that to target certain people with their beliefs. I think that's already happening. I definitely think that's definitely already happening.
One of the releases...
I think that's definitely
definitely happening.
I like the word definitely.
What happened earlier in the Snowden leaks was
Definitely.
they found 5 people with Muslim/Islam beliefs. I'm using it incorrectly, but anyway, you know what I mean. Islamic Muslim beliefs, and they were being targeted for, having their beliefs. But they were Americans, so it's kind of like you have these rights as Americans, but you're being targeted and watched, and it didn't seem right to a lot of people. But that was released. You mentioned the IRS saying people getting focused on it because maybe they're presenting a challenging argument. And then I get worried about activists getting watched, and then I get worried about candidates getting watched if they're maybe the Watergate thing. It goes back to Watergate. It's like Watergate happened. That was weird.
Well, we talked about that before. Like, when all that weird shit happens, it's like, oh, this doesn't happen anymore.
No, this
It's
is
like-
all stopped now because you want to live in this world.
And then you look at our dependence on technology and the trail behind all of us, and that's just. And I mean, I think going back to I said earlier, I think it can be used for great things and it can also be used for bad things. It depends on the people who are controlling it, and that's why it's good to have, and we talked about this a lot, is checks and balances and having a balanced say in things. Which, going back to last week, having an unaltered internet is huge in that. Giving a free voice and allowing us to communicate easily about these ideas and concepts and talk about it like this, like on an open forum.
And I think today is Thursday, and there's a countdown.
You think today is Thursday?
I'm trying to think.
How many whiskeys have you had?
I'm trying to think in the mode of the show. I saw a countdown. There's 6 days to the vote of net neutrality, so today's Thursday, so the show should be online before that vote happens. Not it matters to 12 people maybe, but
12?
Hey,
12,000?
12,000. We don't even know, but that vote's coming up. Where
you know they've been suppressing our view hits online because they don't want anyone to know how popular this already is.
That would be something, right? If they could do that, they can control the message. But we're still in conspiracy corner, aren't we?
That's all we've been talking about.
That's what we love about this show, right? We're just conspiracy theorists trying to pretend that we're not.
I don't know if I would say that. I love a good conspiracy. I will agree with that.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of the things that we talk about are provocative ideas that a lot of people think about, but you can't talk about it in lots of social settings.
Yeah.
Like, unless you're with one of your really close personal friends or family members that really understand you, and you can be like, you can talk some shit. They're not going to judge you for just expressing an idea. Because a lot of the things that we talk about are ideas that were not necessarily concrete thoughts. Like, because there's so many. Maybe I'm going on a rant.
Here it comes, everybody.
There's so many people that have, like, we talked about dogma earlier.
Mm-hmm.
Like having a certain social dogma where it's like, this is what I believe in, I can't change ever. And I feel like what I love about you, you're one of my close buddies, is that you have an open mind and you're willing to take in new information and be like, that's an interesting thought. Like, it doesn't maybe change your perspective immediately, but if we all keep an open mind to new ideas and new thoughts and new information, and because everything that we think is concrete, solid evidence can be flipped on its head.
Oh yeah.
I mean,
it happened before. It'll happen again. I'm just curious because they keep saying like, oh, more stuff's coming. Every time they release something, they're like, well, that's not it, because they released 1.2 million files or whatever it was when Snowden took off with his database or whatever, and now he admitted in his movie Citizen 4 that there's a second leaker inside that has come forward, but they're trying to keep him safe so they don't know how to present the information yet. So I'm just like, what else are we going to learn, and how weird is that going to be? And we're learning some pretty crazy stuff that we thought was kind of like sci-fi or fictional, like something you watch in a movie and it's just like, oh, well, it kind of exists. But here's an argument I kind of want to bring up too. It's like, if we can do this, Russia, China, India, Great Britain, they can do it too. They're doing it too. So if we're not doing it, doesn't that put us at a disadvantage?
I mean, I don't even really care if someone's looking at what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
I mean, if people want to do that, if it's worth people's time, like, that was the point we were making, where it's just so much fucking content. It's like, is it worth just spying on everyone's shit? And it's like, the only reason I could see anyone really wanting to do that is so that they could advertise to you, to be like, oh, this person's looking at these websites, we could sell this content. Like, this is the best data mine ever for, like, Pepsi and Coca-Cola and Taco Bell and, like,
Taco Bell.
or car company, like, any company you can think of. Like, here's all the interest they're into. Like, here are the most of the content is garbage. Yeah, it's like fucking, like, what do people look at? Like, the weather, porn websites,
The weather and porn.
sports, ESPN,
Sports.
like,
I do news.
shopping.
Facebook.
Yeah, like, most of the stuff that people are doing, that's the part I just don't understand. It's like, oh, they're tracking everything. I'm like, you can track the stuff I'm looking at, and I'm like, I'll look at some fringe news websites and some things like that, but most people, like, I feel like it's garbage. So why not just?
It does seem like a lot.
I don't know where I'm going
Although
with that,
I just mentioned Facebook, and it made me think that I read Facebook's very much in league with what's going on. Like, there was stories saying like, oh yeah, we work with them freely because the face recognition software they have to track down criminals. I feel like It's a book of faces. It has all these faces lined up. Maybe that's conspiracy theory too. It's just
Conspiracy theory 2.0.
yeah. It's just
If you want to go really
and there's
interesting,
Google
dude,
and
Well,
they're
not-
all being paid by the CIA.
You wanna go
or
really?
NASA.
well, when you look at the stock market, and you look at venture capital money, and you look at the black pools of money that are out there, and you think about it in that sense, and you look at these companies that all of a sudden blow up and get tons of money, their stock price blows up, and a lot of them are tech companies that are good at capturing data. I've wondered that for a while, like if the government can just siphon funds of money to those companies through the markets and make it almost just look like it's really attractive, because then it also attracts us to donate money to those companies as well in terms of investments to contribute to companies that are doing what they want to do, which is good at tracking information and data and content.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's frightening. And you made me think of
we have to fucking bring this back. We're going so weird.
We're getting so weird, but I want to go even weirder because I read another article. Come with us. Come down the rabbit hole with us, please.
Damn it. I don't want to be this.
We're not yelling at people. That's the thing. We're not like, you gotta watch out for the black helicopters.
But I don't believe that. I think life is really good, and I think this country's awesome in many regards. I don't think a lot of this stuff is even that bad, but it's interesting to talk about.
Here's the thing. For those people who might be listening, they're like, oh yeah, what they're saying is so like, oh, this is scary and terrible and we need to stop it.
These guys are drunk idiots.
The actual...
These guys are a bunch of drunk hippies. Don't listen to them. Turn it off now.
Now wait a
Run
second.
for the hills.
Now just wait a second.
These boys don't know what the fuck they're talking
I'm
about.
gonna bring it back.
They
I'm
don't know
gonna
the
bring it
difference
back.
between a nice piece of ass and a hog's asshole.
It's coming from Cletus, he obviously knows enough about hog's asshole, but no, I don't know what that was. Sorry. Damn it, alcohol.
Cletus and assholes. Cletus and assholes.
The statistics are, when you actually look at the whole
You
body
just started thinking about a
evidence,
pig's asshole and it just totally got you flustered, didn't you?
I got hungry for bacon for some reason. Is that what?
Do you like to eat
Hot
bacon
dogs.
while you have
Hot
sex?
dogs.
Do you eat bacon while you're just like, yes?
It's like George Costanza.
Yeah, it's just like, oh, give me a good crispy piece of
He
bacon.
gets more aroused by food at one point when he finds it.
A warm, beautiful woman. So, do you like crispy,
Crispy
bacon,
bacon.
or soft?
I like chewy bacon. I do.
Soft, gooey,
Yeah,
chewy.
Yeah.
I would prefer it like kind of more in the middle to medium crunchy,
Okay.
but I don't like it super crunchy.
Yeah.
I like it like
you
that
burn off
nice-
the flavor. I
I like
feel.
it like that nice like. It's still like I don't know. Sorry. Anyways, back to what we were talking about.
I just want to say there's statistics that prove that when you get abuse.
Statistics.
Yes, statistics. They prove that
Statistics say. Derek, tell me what they.
when there's a corruption or an abuse, it is usually
talk in your
like
voice
a
like
1 or
this.
2% thing.
A 1 or 2% thing.
A 1 or 2% thing. It doesn't happen that often.
1 or 2%.
But
Is
what-
that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying to you, Rodney. I almost forgot your name. I'm not drunk at all. So there are those concerns, but the reality is, it's like, it doesn't usually happen. But for those 1 or 2%, that kind of sucks if they get abused. It's almost like the death penalty, where it's like, death penalty is something we all agree on, but there's 1 to 4% that die innocently, and that's a lot of blood on our hands when you actually add it all up.
In the giant sum of things, though, we're all worm food, right?
Hey, when you think of it that way, we should just do what we want, right?
I mean, well, you think if we didn't have a civil society, if there was, so let's say someone like raped someone's daughter, and like people knew that happened, like there'd probably be a bunch of people trying to fucking beat that dude to death. Like I don't have any children yet, but if and when I hope I'm blessed enough to have children, if I had like a daughter or something that had that happen to him, wouldn't you want to pummel, like if there's like some weird creepy dude that was like held your daughter down and raped her, and like you'd want to murder that guy.
That's
And if there weren't rules, that's what would happen. But instead we have these rules, and you go to prison or do whatever, and there's a jury, and the sentencing's brought down by the judge. And sometimes you're sentenced to death, but if there wasn't that, things would be much like we're getting better.
right.
So
We're getting
maybe
better.
maybe we shouldn't have the death penalty, but getting shot out into space and just saying that you can't live here anymore, I think is an interesting concept.
And blowing up into pulled pork or whatever you call it.
No, that was if you didn't make it to space. It was just a firework. But if you could just launch you into the stratosphere, you're just like, I guess you just freeze to death and like, kapow! Yeah, and suffocate really quickly. You're just like,
Well, we tried.
Your eyeballs crack.
We didn't kill him. Space did.
Yeah, it's not our fault he can't sustain himself out there.
Yeah. Should have prepared himself.
He should have grown space skills.
Well, where are we?
I'm at the point, Eric, where I'm slightly intoxicated.
I think we're a little drunk.
And,
Oh my gosh, what have we talked about tonight? We talked about death penalty, we talked about the NSA, and
We've
people
talked
dying
about whiskey.
strangely. We talked about whiskey.
we talked about how much I love your mother.
Hey, Mom!
Didn't
thanks
we?
for listening to it. Yeah, you did.
Or no, did I just say that now?
Well, it doesn't matter. You
Hey.
said it. Yeah, it's there. But I think that's what we did this week, and I hope you enjoyed what we had to bring you. We'll try to do better next time, probably.
We need to get some fucking other guests on the show.
We
I
need
think.
some guests. I mean, we need people. We want to be people coming
Hey.
to intelligent people and asking them questions because we want to learn.
Hey,
We're learners.
And if any friends of the show or friends of ours that want to come on the show and talk about something,
Yeah, friends
you
and
should,
family.
You should message us. You should say, "Hey, I'm gonna be in the area. Let's talk about something over a drink.
Yeah, we want to drink with you.
We'd like to have you."
Yeah, and it's, we did a good show tonight. I think, Rodney, even though it might have
Derek.
been out there.
I always love hanging out with you.
Hey, this is what we do. We just hang out, talk about the issues, try to figure it out.
Stimulate conversation
Yeah.
while we stimulate each other. Until next time.
Wow.